Today, we stand at some 43% of our population, which is a little under 900 students, receive free and reduced meals. So bad is the situation for some kids, that is the only meal that they receive in the course of the day. The lunch they receive, the breakfast they receive in the morning, and if they happen to stay after school, the snack will provide for them at the end of the day. How is that impactful? Some of our kids come into us hungry. You cannot learn if you're coming to school hungry. I cannot teach if I'm coming in hungry, so I can imagine how it is for those kids if that's the only meals in which they have. The other piece to that is we have seen students that have come to me more than one time. I'm also responsible for a mentoring program we have at the school. Some of the kids don't have money for basic things such as clothing items or for trips. So we try to provide some additional fundings privately to make sure those kids have what they need so they can be successful and do the type of things that all the other kids in our program and throughout the school are entitled to do in terms of academic and social activities.
We've seen a cut in the number of teachers and the number of paraeducators, and our students range in age from 3 to 21, and they are students who are multiply impacted, medically fragile, and so the cuts in with teachers and the cuts with special education paraeducators mean that these students who really need very specific and much intensive learning and hands-on learning, they receive less of it. It has to be spread across the day for more students, less hands, basically, so less time. With the push towards inclusion for students and homeschool modeling, when students leave the preschool programs and go to kindergarten, they are expected to be in general education classes with support, but there's not as much support to be given because the money is not there.
As students are getting needier and needier in my program, the amount of adult support that has been able to be provided for these neediest of students has actually been reduced. This past year, even though the numbers in my program, in my school at Albert Einstein High School in Kensington, stayed the same, there are actually fewer teachers and fewer instructional assistants there to help. Communities and societies are supposed to be judged based on how they treat their neediest. Not only do I have students who are under the age of majority, I have students who would, even upon achieving the age of majority, be incapable of caring for themselves. I have been paying very close attention over the last several years to post-high school options for students with intellectual disabilities, and I'm watching the money dry up. I'm watching fewer programs become available for my students as they go out into the quote-unquote real world. If we are not going to give assistance to those who need it most, then who are we giving the assistance to? Where is the money going? And how are we supposed to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror as a society, collectively, if the amount of money that we are giving to our neediest, the neediest people in our society is not being adequately maintained?
I teach at a Title I school with lots of English language learner students, and as a kindergarten teacher, we have lots of our kids who come in that need additional language support. They're particularly low-level English language learners, and so they do need that intervention. And this year, our paraeducator support time was cut from our building, so a lot of the intervention work that would be required for our students to be successful is now falling on the teachers again, and reshifting of positions and staff time to make that possible, which is a strain on us. Also, during the lunch and recess schedules, we have para support that covers the cafeteria and recess duty, and that too has become a challenge with two people having to man control of probably 130 kindergarten students. So for safety reasons, we've been asked to come make sure that we're helping to transition the kids earlier, which then cuts into our planning time. There are just so many domino effects that I think sometimes people are not aware of when budgets are not funded to their full capacity. So I'm asking my legislators to really consider and work very hard on our behalf to restore the fiscal health of the budget and to maintain the effort that we're supposed to have to educate our kids properly year by year. So with everything that you're already doing, I want to say thank you. But I also want for you to know that we need your support. We need your help to continue to make Maryland schools #1 that we've been for the past 3 years.
Students that attend career and technology education centers, for the most part, it's about a 60% cut in Maryland. About 60% of those students are also attending Title I schools on free and reduced meals. Having these kids have to pay for their toolkits. In my case, it's about $47 for the tools that are required to start out the network operations program. That money that had come from Perkins grants, that money that had come from maintenance of effort money earlier than my previous years, had paid for those Title I students to get their tools and fees paid for. This year, there was no money available to basically tell these students, it's fine, you can have a waiver because we were able to get that money from another location. And they were sent home to their parents and told that they had to come up with $47 or they were not going to be able to attend the program. And that was, it's a serious issue to tell a kid who's interested in a career program, who probably needs the career program, that if they don't come up with a certain amount of money, they're not going to be able to attend the program. And while that money was there before, because that maintenance of effort money was coming and supplementing our Montgomery County budget, it was not there when they supplanted that money and moved it off to pay for roads.